always something. Is this the only job you're going to have to do this week, or you're hoping he's going to be back on deck by tomorrow, obviously?
Nah, he'll be back on deck tomorrow, so I won't have to worry about it. I'll just continue on in my usual role, and that's just looking after the backs and team defence. So, yeah, we spoke to him before, and yeah, yesterday he wasn't much chop, he said, but he'll be fine for tomorrow. So we're sort of fortunate that it's an important day in terms of our last key messages, but Ooze will take the reins in that regard and look after it today. And yeah, as I said, good to be back, ready to go tomorrow night.
Has he had to stay away from the group at all, like yesterday or earlier in the week or anything?
No, well, yesterday we were fortunate. It was a day off, so main training we had on, it was Tuesday. He was there for that. Had no issues there, but yeah, sort of got him around lunchtime yesterday. So we're fortunate that he hasn't had any contact with anyone, so keeping him away from the group just to make sure that no players go down.
How's the preparation been otherwise? Do you think you had a great game against Brisbane, and then the last couple of weeks, how's it been leading into this final?
Yeah, look, it's been a tough run in. Obviously, the last 4 games have been against quality opponents that we've had to make sure we win and to give ourselves an opportunity to finish top 4. So to finish the season like we did against a quality side in Brisbane up at the Gabba, where they're a pretty strong team, was a great result for us. And then this last little week, we've had a good training block. We had a bit of a match play hit out last week. A couple of sore boys who were able to deload a little bit, but everyone's right to go, and we're looking forward to putting our best team on the park tomorrow night.
Has that last few weeks been good for the belief of the group? Given, mid-year you had a little bit of a wobble, and then you've put together some good performances lately heading into September?
Yeah, I think this group's got the belief. Obviously, last year we premiership team, so they understand what it takes to perform on the big stage and get the results. Clearly, we started the year really well and had a little bit of a hiccup there, but what we've probably felt the last 6 or 7 weeks, we've started to build and play some good footy, and there were some results that didn't go our way, and you learn a lot in those games. And then obviously the back end of the year, those last 4 games have been really important for us. Obviously Fremantle away, Collingwood in a close game where we took some really great learnings out of to then put in place against Carlton, get a close win there, and then obviously the last game against Brisbane. So they understand what's required, especially for finals footy as well. And we're coming up against a team who's in some pretty red hot form as well. So it's going to be a challenge, but one we're really looking forward to.
Troy, how does this year compare to last? Obviously, you're back in Melbourne for this finals series.
Yeah, look, it's completely different. Obviously, we can sort of draw on the experiences of last year and playing finals football, but it's completely different in Melbourne. Being able to play back at the home of footy on the MCG in front of our supporters. The club have got record membership, over 65,000 members that are going to turn out and support us, and I think they're talking around 81,000 so far for the game. So it's a completely different feel to last year. Just even walking in today, you can start to see the crowd build around Gosh's paddock. So it's going to be a completely different feeling for our players, and one that we spoke about in the off-season of putting ourselves in this position because our fans deserve it. They've been on this unbelievable journey with us, and we want to repay the faith with them. So we're looking forward to it, and we can't wait to get out there tomorrow night.
How much of your sense, guys, like Jaden Hunt and Jake Melksham are relishing this opportunity, having missed last year, and sort of the group to sort of want to win for those two in particular?
Yeah, Mitch, it's a great question because they came back in terrific form early in the year in terms of the condition that they came back in. It was heartbreaking for those guys, especially Hunty, because he played 20-odd games and then got that syndesmosis injury. So it was really tough for him. But I think those guys are the reason we are where we are right now. They're the guys who have been hungry, pushing the guys in the team to play well week in, week out, and we've got some real depth within our team. It's not just Jake and Hunty, it's also guys like Cade Chandler, Toby Bedford. Those guys have been really putting some pressure on the guys in the team, and to their credit, they've been able to perform at the right end of the year and they get their opportunity. Melky's done some great jobs for us in the last month. Hunty's playing some really good football after spending some time at VFL, so I'm excited for those two guys in particular, but we also know that our VFL team are performing really well, and we've got some guys who are AFL ready if needed.
And Troy, just on the injury front, Christian Salem, how's his groin? And Luke Jackson, how's his calf?
Yeah, both will be fine. Salo trained fully with us. he was just had general soreness, so it was more around just not taking the risk with him and sort of pushing the boundaries and making it any worse than what it was. So he trained on the main training session the other day, and Jacko's exactly the same. Jacko was just more tightness, and given the stakes in the game were probably over against Brisbane, and we knew that we could use the sub for that reason, that there was a potential to get a serious injury. So that's why we pulled the trigger on that one, and both guys will be available for selection, and we'll find out tonight at 6:25 when the teams come out whether they're in.
Hey, Troy. Sorry, Shane, go on, mate.
How's Tom McDonald looking? Is he any chance?
Look, I think it's probably he won't play at AFL level. I think what Tommy's been able to do is just get himself back, and we just need to get some games into him. Obviously, time's running out, but hopefully we get the win tomorrow night, and that allows him. He's going to have another really good couple of sessions with the VFL team. Obviously, they're into a prelim. So he's given himself every opportunity, but I think just missing that much footy with the injury he's had, it's just too big of a risk for him. We'd hate for him to go down, but also put him in a position where you're setting him up to fail. Playing only one game, it's just too big of a risk, so Tommy won't play.
Troy, Vince Regari here from the Sydney Morning Herald, mate. I just wanted to ask you about your opponents, in particular Buddy Franklin. What have you made of his year to date? I mean, 50 goals suggests he's still got a fair bit of potential in the tank, and also, do you think this might be one of the last times you have to prepare for him defensively?
Oh, look, it's clear to the competition that Buddy's been a superstar for such a long time, and as you said, to kick another 50 goals is just phenomenal. I think we keep writing these players off just through age. We look at their age, but what he's been able to do, and he hasn't played every game either, so he probably could have kicked 60 to 70 really. Obviously, last time we played, he didn't play, Maisie didn't play either, and those two generally line up against each other. So there's no doubt that we've got to be really mindful of what Lance can do. He's a pretty important player to that team. He's got the capabilities of kicking a bag, and he certainly likes the big games. So I hope it's not the last time that we see him. I think he's still got a lot to give to the game. If you've got a player that's kicking 50 goals, he can continue on. So it's a credit to what Buddy's been able to do, and the Sydney Football Club as well, to be able to manage him and make sure they get the best out of him. And we know that tomorrow night he's going to be a real threat, and that Maisie's going to have his hands full.
Just on Christian Petrarca, is he at 100% tomorrow night, Troy? Has he had any issue at all this week?
No, he's 100%. He's another guy that's just had general soreness. He's carried a big load this year, and he trained fully the other day. He'll train today, and he's 100% right for tomorrow night. There's no question about that. There's no doubt around him. He left the track the other day in a session that wasn't. It was more just a bit of a run around. He just had a little bit of general soreness from our match play game. He hasn't got an injury or anything, so there's no worries there for our Melbourne supporters. Christian will be at 100% tomorrow night.
Obviously, you haven't had Tom McDonald in the side for a while now, but is that forward line better with him in it, or do you think that you've been able to find the right mix to go without him if he doesn't feature again in September?
Yeah, well, we've probably been forced to find a different mix just through, as you said, the injury to Tommy. We've gone a little bit more hybrid and been able to stumble across something where Melky's been able to give us a different look ahead of the ball. Obviously, Bailey's had another important year for us, kicking over 50 goals. Benny Brown's always a threat, and we've been able to throw Gorney forward and trust Jacko in the ruck a little bit more. So with Tommy going out, you've got to be a little bit innovative, and that's what we've been able to do. So as long as this group keeps performing, we'll keep backing in. So as I said before, Tommy's going to give himself every chance to get back in, and that's going to make it hard for us as a selection committee, and where that lands in the next couple of weeks, we'll just have to wait and see.
Last couple, please.
Troy, is the backline feeling as settled as it's been? I know Stephen May and Jake Lever have been out a couple of times this year, but they seem to be hitting form at the right time.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge this year because we've had some injuries, and those guys haven't been able to play a lot of footy together. But this back end of the year, we've been able to get a bit more cohesion and consistency there. So, I mean, that group we've got in at the moment have played a lot of footy together. I mean, Hunty played the 20 games last year, but unfortunately missed out on finals. So we've probably had about 10 guys go through over the course of the year, but the last 6 or 7 weeks it's been settled on 7 to 8, and that's obviously Bowser came in for Salo. So certainly we've started to get a bit more stability and cohesion behind the ball, and they've started to find a little bit of form. So when we've got those three key pillars in Petty, Lever and May playing together, it certainly helps because they work really well together and complement each other's strengths. And then we've got a group of running defenders who can use the ball and shut down defenders where need be. So without a doubt that this back end of the year we've started to play a bit better footy together, and hopefully that lasts for another month.
All right, thanks, Chappie.
So have you got a speech ready for tomorrow?
No, Mitch, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting myself in that position, mate. That's Ooz's job. I'll just be off to the side, minding my own business, mate. Cheers, guys. Thank you. See ya.